So the function g is defined by g of x, which is f of x plus 5. For what value of x does g of x reaches its minimum? Now my focus is this statement, which is not really useful for the solution, and I'll say the reason. The truth of the matter is any function reaches its maximum or minimum at x is equal to what? Minus b over what? Over 2a, which is equal to what? X1 plus x2 divided by 2. The concept of minimum or maximum is talking about what point does the graph either curves what? Upward or curves what? Downward. And that point is given by x is minus b over 2a. So it's valid for both maximum or minimum point, right? Actually, this particular function will only be minimum if the coefficient of x squared, which is a, is what? Is greater than 0 or positive. And it will be what? Maximum if a is what? Less than 0 or negative. So that is why I said it is not really applicable. Basically, this is the most important thing we need to get. So either it is minimum, we just actually confirm if it is minimum, right, by seeing if coefficient of what? Of a is what? Greater than 0. So let's leave that aside. So let's move on to the solution. We have told that g of x is f of x, f of x plus 5. So meaning, and we know that this is f of x. So all we just need to do is what? F of what? X plus 5 is the value of f of x when x is what? X plus 5. So what it implies is that in this function, wherever we have x, we replace it with x plus 5. So this will now be what? 4 into bracket x squared. That will now give us x plus 5 square plus 64 into bracket x plus 5, right, plus what? 262. So let me change my color. So, and don't forget that f of x plus 5 is the same thing as g of x. So we'll do that. So I can therefore say that g of x will now be equal to what? 4, right? I'll now use a square bracket into bracket x plus 5 square will give me x plus 5 into bracket x plus 5, right? Then plus 64 times x, that's 64x, then 64 times 5. Okay, 64 times 5 would give me 320 plus 320, then plus 262. So I still have my g of x will now be equal to what? 4 into square bracket x times 5. Okay, there's a way I used to open brackets like this, so let me do that just for revision purpose. I'll use x to open this bracket and I'll use 5 to open the bracket. I will have x into bracket x plus 5, then plus 5 into bracket x plus 5, right? Then plus 64x, right? 320 plus 262, that gives us 582 plus what? 582. So we have what? G of x will now be equal to 4 into, so by x times x, that's x squared, times x times 5, that's plus 5x, right? Then 5 times x plus 5x, right? Then 5 times 5, that's plus what? 25. Then plus 64x, right, plus 5 what? 80 what? 82. So let me scroll up. So I'm gonna be having what? G of x will now be equal to what? 4 into bracket x squared plus 5x plus 5x, that is 10x, right, plus 25, right, plus 64x, right, plus 582, right? So g of x will return 4 times x squared, that is 4x squared, 4 times 10x plus 40 what? X, then 4 times 25 plus 100, then plus 64x plus 5 what? 82. So the next thing is to just regroup and collect like terms. So we have g of x will now give us what? 4x squared plus 40x plus 64x plus 100 plus 582. So at the end of it, we have g of x will now give us 4x squared plus 40x plus 64x. That will give us 104x. That's plus 104 what x, then plus 100 plus 582. That is what that will give us was 682 plus 6 what 82. All right, so having gotten all this, the next thing is we now need to recall. So recall that standard quadratic function is given by what? Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to what? Is equal to 0. So if we compare with this, it implies that a is 4, b is what? 104, and c is what? 680 what? 682. And for us to get, and if you look at this, a is greater than 0. So since a is greater than 0, it implies that the what? G of s reaches is what? Minimum. All right, so that is that. I think I've mentioned that earlier on. So that's why I said it's not useful. So our focus is now to determine the turning point. So the turning point is actually the same thing as the axis of symmetry at the point where it is minimum, and it is given by what? X is equal to minus b over what? 2a. That will be what? Minus 104, because b is 104 over what? 2 into bracket, what is a? 4. And that will give us minus 104 over what? 2 times 4, that is 8. So 104 divided by 8, that will give us what? Minus what? Minus what? 13. So the value of x for which it reaches its minimum is what? Minus 13, which is what? Option A. I want to believe this video has helped someone. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.